Welcome to this Business Central launch edition for the 2025 Release Wave 2. In this session, we're going to talk about what's new in server and database. My name is Kenny Pontoppidan, and I'm the program manager for this area. And with me, I have Jens.
Yes, and I'm the engineering manager for the server team in Business Central.
Yeah. And for all of these sessions we do here at the launch edition, we always start to talk about the business value. So Jens, what is the business value of having a server?
Well, I guess it helps being able to run some of the business logic the partners have written in a performant manner, and I guess that's the main value proposition. It's actually the engine running all of the product.
It's a great answer. So
thank you. Didn't quite expect that question. Let's go.
Yes. So we have a number of different classes of things we want to talk about. AL, runtime, database, reporting, tooling. So let's dive in with new AL methods. We have 3: create, sequential GUID, log timeout duration, and truncate. So the first is about actually all the way back to when we introduced system fields, system ID, and so on. We wanted to have an identifier on all rows, but in something that would also be performant when you index over it. So that's why a GUID is great, but GUID is horrible for indexing. So that's why we stole the code from SQL Server to be able to do sequential GUIDs, and now we have also introduced that logic in AL, so you can get kind of a sequential GUID in case you want to do the same.
Yes, usually if you have a GUID field yourself, for instance, for logging purposes, etc., this actually helps because it'll automatically put the log entries together, particularly if it's the primary key.
Yeah. We also have a new way to deal with log timeouts. So the traditional log timeout method just have on and off, true or false. Now we have a way to set a custom log timeout with a log timeout duration method.
Yeah, and the cases where you want to use this is usually when you want something that is not part of the UI, that is more resilient towards it taking a little while to get a log, but you don't want this almost infinite log. Now, of course, it's never infinite because there's a command timeout as well, but that comes a lot later. So now if you have something where you need a bit more stability, you can set it to, for instance, 3 minutes or something like that.
Yeah. And then we introduced a way to delete, I would say, a large amount of data. So this is a new rec.truncate method. Truncate is a SQL method that is much faster than delete. It's not instantaneous. It is actually transactional. And under the hood, the difference between truncate and delete is truncate will just log in the transaction log the page IDs and not the full row. So that's why it's faster. You can use it for things like when you want to get rid of data for upgrade or batch or staging tables, things like that. The way we do it is we temporarily drop SIFT indexes of views, I said views and then indexes, while truncated and then enabling them back. You can filter, so you don't have to truncate everything. We'll then copy a portion to a temporary table in SQL and then copy it back once we have truncated. And you can even keep your values on auto increment. And that's kind of everything there is to it.
Yeah, and there's a few things to note here. So you saw that we were copying data out. So if you're not deleting the vast majority of the table, don't use truncate because it's counterproductive, because now you're moving a lot of data in and out instead. And there are also cases where truncate will return false. So do remember to put it into an if, because here are actually the full list. If it is not a SQL table or the table is a system table, well, you shouldn't have written truncate in that case, if it's inside a try function. But there are also if security filters are active, because we can't truncate with security filters because truncate takes everything. And with security filters, you're only allowed to see parts of the data, hence also delete parts of it. We also have a limitation with media fields because that requires us to maintain media as well. And also if there are too many rows that are marked or there are filters on flow fields. And last but not least, actually it's the one exactly in the middle. If there are subscribers to on before or on after delete, we won't do the truncate. So it's mainly used for logs, etc., as you said. And the way you want to code this is you want to do an if not rec.truncate, then maybe delete all or whatever you want to do.
Yeah. And I mean, the on before, on after delete is simply because of those things happen in the AL runtime, and truncate is a truly database-centric operation.
Yes, and we're not doing something row by row.
Yeah.
That's why it's a lot faster.
Yeah. So that actually leads us into database features. Do you want to take the first optimized flow field calculations?
So this is an example of some of the things we're working on under the hood to make the service faster. Now, for a number of tables, they actually do sums over other tables. For instance, GL account, it has 4 flow fields on GL entry. They are listed there. And when we read those when doing AutoCalc fields, we would actually do an outer apply for each. Now we've improved the logic so that they can use just one outer apply, and then it's just the actual sum statement that is different for these, which gives a significant performance improvements if you're showing a lot of calculated fields in a list page.
Yeah. Another thing we did is, you see it in the data analysis or when you take something into analysis mode in 3 ways, either on a query or if server-side analysis mode is when you have more than 100,000 rows, or if you join to a related table. So in these 3 situations, the platform will go from browser side, where we load everything in the browser, into server side, where we do it on the server. So for that particular server-side analysis mode, we can now support the pivot operation on date hierarchy fields. Whenever you have a date, we do the year, quarter, month, one more, I forgot. And then those can now be pivoted, and you couldn't do that before.
And actually, the analysis mode has become one of our most popular features. There is really a large percentage of our customers using it. So now we keep adding small functionality to it. And we're even going to talk a little more about it in just a moment.
We are. And I mean, not only a lot, it's actually almost like a little over 70% of all customers use analysis mode on a monthly basis.
Yeah, and I don't know why the remaining 30% are not using it.
But we'll call you.
Yes. All right, that takes us to one of the main investments we've been doing this year, which is to enable search by semantic meaning on metadata, which means finding pages, reports, queries by similarity. The way it works is that we take the input, we calculate a semantic vector, and then we compare to the semantic vectors for each of the metadata elements, for instance, pages. This is used in Copilot Chat, it is used in the Role Explorer Search, and it's used in Tell Me. And there's actually another one, which is in the analysis view to find related fields. So that's another addition that we've added, and there is a specific session on that as well. Now, to enable this, there are actually 2 feature management toggles. There is one for Advanced Tell Me, which will change the way the Tell Me search looks. There's now an Advanced tab. You toggle that with one. And then for the others, the Chat and Analysis Assist, that is the very nicely named Preview Semantic Similarity Search on Application Metadata. Say that quickly. So they can be toggled on and off independently. Now, what we are doing behind the scenes is that we are keeping the embeddings updated for these metadata elements. So when the feature is enabled, we generate them. If the metadata is updated, if you change the caption of a page, then we will update the embedding vector. If the model for generating embeddings changes, and also if we change basically what is our textual representation of an object. That it's usually based on the caption and the about text, for instance, for reports. But of course, we may change this because we will continuously monitor and make sure that we optimize the search algorithm so that we get the best hits as often as possible.
And I like you say the about text, it's both for pages, queries, and reports, because the better thing we feed into the embeddings, the better is the similarity search. So if you have ISV or PT, patented extensions, make sure that you also give good about text, about title, not only for the users, but also for the AIs. We kind of joke that there's one person who reads everything, and that's the AI, or OpenAI that reads this, right? So make sure that you provide good quality metadata, and then that your objects will light up nicely in all these features.
It should be noted that this maintenance of semantic vectors happens not just for the base app, that of course happens for all objects, whether they come from app source apps or PTE apps. And the semantic metadata search is used in Advanced Tell Me, where you select Advanced. Now, there is one thing that's different from the existing Tell Me, which is you need to press Enter to start the search, because words can change meaning dramatically when you add an extra letter. So we actually need to know when should we actually take the meaning of that word or those words. You can write sentences as well. If you type something in the chat pane, then we use that for finding relevant pages. As mentioned, we use it for adding fields in analysis views. And it's also worth noticing that it searches effectively in all languages. So you can write in a different language than what you currently have in the UI. So it'll still do its best to find the most relevant one. And it's worth remembering that things are not similar or not. It's always a degree of similarity. So effectively, you always have an ordered list of what was with the most similar on top. But you can't really say that something is either similar or not.
Yeah. I mean, the one example is the dog, cat, dog food, right? Where dogs and cats are similar in semantic ways. They are, but dog food and dog are likely have more similarity than dog food and cat. But it's
probably yes.
Yeah.
But we can always second guess what the semantic models consider similar. And it actually brings to this, well, I find it a little funny, that just to show that you can write in your own language, this is in a US version, or maybe it's the W1, I actually can't remember, but at least it's with English as language. And then I type the Danish word for tax statement, which is momsopgørelse, and it actually finds the tax statement. That's the one on the left. Now, to the right, I did it a little shorter, so I had moms, which is the VAT tax, and it finds relatives, which probably has something to do with mothers.
So in general, as Jens mentioned, there is a full session on the new advanced search. So go watch that here in this launch edition as well, if you're interested in the uptake of this.
And also do expect that results can change. We will adjust the algorithm for how we treat similarity based on measurements of what works best in production.
Mm. Another area is within reporting, both document reporting and actually all of this is document reporting in the platform. So let me walk you through a few things. First of all, similar to a couple of releases back, we added support for tooltips on tables that can be inherited up. Later, the same thing happened on query objects, and now we are doing it for tooltips on report columns. So you could either define a tooltip on a report data item field, or if you don't, it will try to inherit from the table. This means that you could also now think about whether you should move some of your tooltips from pages back to the tables, and they will just inherit up in different places. Where we use it is in the Word add-in, where this is a new feature in the Word add-in that we are shipping in this wave as well, a new data picker. And for the data picker, where we have a full session on this, so go watch that. But the tooltips will light up here in the UI when you hover over a field. You can now see the tooltip if it is being defined.
Yeah, and in general, if you have a description of the data, then it belongs on the table. Now, there can be cases where you want to elaborate on this in this given context. Now that it is in this report, I want to change the tooltip a little. So that's when you would actually still make use of the tooltip on the data item rather than just relying on the one in the table.
Correct. And that's why if nothing is defined on the report object, we try to inherit from the table, but you can override that in the report object. Another thing that we are working on is PDF, and part of this is both PDF UA, accessible PDFs, and PDF A, which is archivable ones. And we are in the platform slowly beginning to have support for these in the platform. So save will default now save in PDF UA. Eventually, we'll also have document layouts in Word in a certain way that once they are transformed into PDF, the PDFs are accessible and can be read in a screen reader. So this is just the direction things are going in the reporting platform. Yeah, and if you want to see kind of some uptake, some code, go and look at the German version where we have the Zugpferd format for each documents, where we both use PDF A3 as well as the embedding of other files of different MIME types into the PDF.
I can't help but thinking of trains and horses when I hear the word Zugpferd.
Yeah, that's that is a very German-specific joke. So think about that if you don't have German, or ask a German friend.
Yes, so we've also added some new troubleshooting tools. You can now view SQL call information in performance profiles. There is a session on this particular topic about what has been improved in the performance profile, but effectively it's sampling, and if it is sampling during a SQL call, it'll show up here. So in general, it's just like the normal AL code that, of course, very short calls may not show up. Mm-hmm. And then a very small little thing, the app version is now included in the copy error details. When you are so unlucky that you'll find the one bug left in the product and you want to report it.
Yeah.
Yes. Do we have anything else? Because
actually, that was it.
I had one thing.
Yeah.
Because normally all the functionality we talk about apply both to on-premises and the cloud. That does not apply to the semantic search.
Correct.
Because we are maintaining the embedding vectors, etc. We do not have support for that in the on-premise world. And furthermore, if you take and export your database, then we're actually going to take out the embedding vectors before creating the backpack, because it relies on the latest version of SQL Server 2025, which is available for us in Azure SQL and for you in Azure SQL, but it's not available yet for on-premises.
And that's a general rule, that we are not blocking on-premises in any of our features, but it might be that a feature is just only lighting up in the online version due to things like this.
Yes.
So it's actually not that we want to be annoying. We actually want to be helpful, that we are not breaking you, and that's because the backpack version would kind of break you because you don't have any way to kind of restore that. Yeah.
But the rest of what you saw applies to the on-premises release as well.
Great. So Jens, that is actually everything we had for them.
Yeah.
Just a few things. If you're not following the product group on LinkedIn, you should. aka.ms/BC LinkedIn. It takes you to the LinkedIn profile of the product group. So follow and get kind of weekly news of everything that happens. Not everything, but relevant things that happened.
There are so many things happening.
Yeah. The other thing, you watch this on YouTube. aka.ms/BC YouTube is the link to the product group's YouTube channel. Not only these watch new, but a lot of other videos about Business Central, Copilot, AI, tips and tricks, deep dives, under the hood. Under the hood, we actually have a couple of our engineers from our team participating this time. These are like small snippets of things that are coming in the next wave, and just yeah. So go and follow the product group YouTube channel. And if you're a Business Central partner, the AKA link, aka.ms/BC all, is the landing page for all the AKA links. Maybe browse it through it. We might have added things since last time you saw that. If you're not yet on Yammer, you are missing out compared to your competitors. That's where a lot of discussions, questions are happening around the product. It's partner only. So your competitors are there, and we really want you to be there as well, to be part of that community. It is partner only, it's not for customers. And the final link is the aka.ms/BC office hours. This is where we from the product group, Jens's team, and like whenever we have something that is some like new things we want to present and also have Q&As, we do these as office hours, about 45 minutes once a month. So program, you can see that there. So with this, that's actually everything we had, Jens. Should we say goodbye and wave?
Yeah, let's do that. And see you.
See you.